Good morning students. In this video we are going to see the Unit 8, the Sale of Goods Act 1930 and the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. Chapter 21, the Sale of Goods Act 1930. So from this lesson we are going to learn and understand the contract of sale, differentiate the sale and agreement to sale, types of goods, transfer of ownership, conditions and warranties, and know the rights of unpaid seller. So these are the synopsis of this lesson. The Sale of Goods Act is one of the most important act coming under special contract. So this act was passed in the year 1930. Prior this act, it was governed by 7 chapters of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Now this act was passed in the year 1930. So contract for the sale of goods are subjected to general legal principles applicable to all contract. So hence the general provision of Indian Contract Act continue to apply the contract for the sale of goods. The formation of contract of sale. Contract of sale of goods. For contract means two persons need to conduct a contract. So where the seller transfer his ownership to the buyer, or the transferring of ownership from the seller to the buyer is known as contract of sale of goods. You have to understand the mean of selling the ownership of the goods to the buyer for a price, besides transferring the physical possession of the goods. So the term ownership or property conferred on the buyer an absolute freedom to dispute the assets in the way. So contract for sale is nothing but the ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer. The essential elements of contract of sale. The following essential elements of contract of sale are: first one, two parties. Then transfer of property, goods, price, includes both sale and agreement to sell. These are the elements of contract of sale. First one, two parties. So a contract of sale involves two parties, buyer and seller. The buyer and the seller should be of two different persons. If a person buys his own goods, there is no sale. But if the person wants to buy the goods from others, it is called sale, or it is the contract of sale. So the partners were themselves joint owners of the properties. Then transfer of property. To constitute sale, the seller must transfer or agree to transfer the ownership in the goods to the buyer. So first element to two parties need, then transfer of property from the seller to the buyer. Some assets to be transferred. The ownership is to be transferred, or the possession does not amount to sale. The ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer. Transfer of property, then goods. The subject matter of contract of sale must be goods. It excludes money, actionable claim, and immovable property. The term goods includes every kind of movable property. It may be stock, share, growing crops, goodwill, trademark, copyright, patent rights, etc. The price. The monetary consideration for the goods sold is called price. If goods are exchanged for goods, it is only barter and not a sale. But if the goods are sold partly for goods and partly for money, the contract is one of sale. So the price must be essential for a valid contract. Then includes both sale and agreement to sell. The term contract of sale includes both sale and agreement to sell. If the property in goods transferred immediately to the buyer, it is called sale. On the other hand, if the transfer of property take place at future date on fulfillment of certain conditions, it is called an agreement to sell. So these are the 5 elements of contract of sale. Two parties, transfer of properties, goods, price includes sale and agreement to sell. Now the difference between sale and agreement to sell. Sale means the ownership is transferred immediately from the seller to the buyer. Agreement to sell means the property or ownership or title of the goods has to be transferred from the seller to the buyer in future. That is agreement to sell. So ownership transference. Then risk of loss. When the goods are sold under the contract of sale or destroyed, the loss falls squarely on the buyer. For example, sale means the ownership is transferred immediately when the buyer buying the goods. So that if the goods are destroyed means the loss will be borne by the buyer. But in the agreement to sell, if the goods are destroyed, the loss falls squarely on the seller as the ownership is still vested with the seller. Here the goods and ownership is not transferred from the seller to the buyer. So if there is any loss, the seller will accept the loss. Then consequences of violating the contract. If the buyer fails to pay the price, the seller cannot chase the product. He can file a case against the court. Where the buyer violates the contract or the seller can repossess the goods from the farmer, he can sue for damages for violation of contract. If there is anything done by the buyer means, in the sale we cannot chase the product again, but we can file a case. But here the agreement to sell, the buyer violate the contract means he can sue for damages for violation. The next heading, nature of contract. It is an executed contract, that is completed contract, is finished. The buyer accept to buy the product and pay the amount immediately, and the ownership is transferred also immediately. So it is an executed or a complete contract. But in the agreement to sell is an executory contract. That is the contract yet to be formed by the party. Yet to be means not yet completed. Then insolvency of the buyer. In a sale, if a buyer becomes insolvent before he pays for the goods, even though the goods sold are under the possession of the seller, the latter has to return them to the official receiver or assignee as the ownership of goods has already been transferred to the buyer. So, the seller can claim only rateable dividend. The seller has to inevitably part with the possession of the goods under his custody. Here, the seller can claim only the dividend, not the goods. But in the agreement to sell, if the buyer becomes insolvent means insanity, incapability of doing business or incapability of paying money. If the buyer becomes insolvent before the payment of the price, the seller can retain the goods. So the seller is not bound to loss of possession of the goods. Then insolvency of the seller. If the seller becomes insolvent before delivering the goods to the buyer can claim the delivery of the goods from the official receiver. If the buyer insolvent means the seller can file against or he can approach some person to claim only for rateable dividend. But here if the seller is insolvent means the buyer can claim the delivery of the goods from the official receiver. In the agreement to sell, the buyer cannot do so because the buyer has already paid the price of the goods or made any advance. He can claim only rateable dividend and not the goods. So these are the difference between sale and agreement to sell. Ownership difference, then risk of loss, consequences of violating the contract, nature of contract, insolvency of the buyer, insolvency of the seller. Then types of goods. The term goods mean every kind of movable property other than actionable claim and money. The term actionable claim means debt secured by mortgage of immovable property, fixed deposit, dividend due on shares, amount due under LIC policy, the claim for rent which falls due in future. So the term goods include stock, shares, growing crops, grass, things attached to the land or forming part of the land agreed to be cut off from the land before sale. For example, trees grown on the land agreed to be sold after harvest. So this is the meaning of goods. Now we are going to see the types of goods. The goods are divided into three types: existing goods, contingent goods, and future goods. The existing goods are subdivided into specific, ascertained, and unascertained goods. First one, existing goods. Existing goods are those owned or possessed by the seller at the time of contract of sale. Goods possessed even refer to sale by agent or by pledges. If the goods are owned by the seller at the time of contract of sale is called as existing goods. When the seller wants to sell the something, in the time the product must be in the hands of seller. That is existing goods. Existing goods may be either specific or ascertained and generic or unascertained goods. Then future goods. The future goods are existing goods, specific goods difference. The existing goods are ascertained, specific, and unascertained goods. The specific goods denote goods identified and agreed upon the time of contract of sale. For if a buyer select a particular variety of saree after examining several other sarees, they selected one denote specific goods. Then ascertained goods. The term ascertained goods is also used similar in meaning to specific, but this term may even refer to goods which became ascertained subsequent to the formation of the contract. Then unascertained goods. These are goods which are not identified and agreed upon at the time of contract of sale. A wants to buy a car from showroom. Different models at different prices have been displayed. All these displayed models represent unascertained goods. It will not be buy immediately, it will buy future. Then future goods. The future goods are, these are goods which a seller does not possess at the time of contract of sale, but which will be manufactured or produced or acquired by him after entering into a contract of sale and agreement. Example, A contractor agreed to supply 100 pack of rice to B, giving marriage feast. It is a future goods. So this 100 pack of rice will give later. So future goods. Similarly, when the bus company agreed to buy spare part from a particular supplier, it is an example of future contract. So future goods represent unascertained goods. Then contingent goods. Contingents means it may happen or may not. So contingent goods are the goods, the acquisition of which by the seller depends upon a contingency, an event which may occur or not, an event which may or may not happen. Contingent goods are a part of future goods. Example, A agreed to sell a particular painting work provided he gets from C. In this case, the painting work represents contingents. Similarly, a rice merchant agreed to supply 10 pack of basmati rice from Pakistan if he gets supplies. So in this case, basmati rice representing contingent goods may or may not be available to the rice merchant. Then contingent goods. Here example, order placed for basmati rice, contingent situation 1 and 2. Contingent situation, first one, it may or may not happen. May happen, it happened, that means received basmati rice, sales executed. May not happen, that is contingent situation 2, not get supply of basmati rice, so there is no sale. Then transfer of ownership. The goods, transfer of property in goods from the seller to the buyer is the main object. So the main object of contract of sale is the ownership is transferred from seller to the buyer. For example, A may possess a watch just because A possesses the watch, he cannot be the owner. He might have borrowed the watch from his friend or stolen the watch from somebody or found it on the highways. So in this case, he cannot be called owner. It is important to know the precise moment of time at which the ownership in goods possessed from the seller to buyer. Then passing of property. Transfer of title of a property is called passing of property. Transfer of title. Title means that ownership is this particular specific goods is transferred from this buyer to this seller to buyer. Or this unascertained goods are transferred to seller to buyer. So passing of property, transfer of title of a property is called as passing of property. Specific goods, unascertained goods, and goods sent on approval. So the passing of property may be 3 types. First one, specific goods. The specific goods transfer their property, the passing the property are first one at the time of contract, then beyond the date of contract, then third one goods sent on approval or on return basis. First one, specific goods at the time of contract. Where there is an unconditional contract for the sale of specific goods is deliverable state. Ownership in the goods passes to the buyer and the contract is made. For example, B selects certain books in the bookshop, the price is settled. B arranges to take delivery of books next day through his servant and agree to pay for the books on the 1st of next month. So these books were destroyed by fire in the same evening. So in this case, B has to bear the loss and pay for the books selected since the ownership has already passed on to B. So this is at the time of contract. So when the contract is over, the buyer responsibilities increase. He has to suffer all the losses. Then the next one, at the time of beyond the date of contract. When the goods are not in a deliverable state, then when the price of goods is to be ascertained by weighing or testing, doing something. So these are beyond the date of contract. Beyond the date of contract means if the seller, there was a contract for sale of machine weighing 30 tons and installed in a concrete floor, some part of the machine were damaged during the process of removal. In this case, the buyer is entitled to refuse to buy the machines because the goods not in a deliverable conditions. When the price of goods is to be ascertained by weighing or testing, doing something. A sold some quantity of wheat to B at the rate of 10 per kg. At the same time, A had to weigh the wheat in order to know the price of entire quantity of wheat sold to B. So in this case, the ownership of the wheat shall transfer to B as soon as A weighs the wheat. B comes to know about the completion of weighing activity. Then, when the goods are appropriate, unascertained goods. So first one, passing the property. Transfer of title of a property is called passing property. This passing property can execute first one, specific goods at the time of contract beyond the date of contract. Then unascertain goods. As already we studied that unascertain goods are those which are not specifically identified at the time of contract of sale. Here the ownership in case of unascertain goods is transferred to the buyer subject to the fulfillment of the following conditions. When the goods are ascertained, when the goods are appropriate to the contract, these 2 points, the above 2 conditions can be fulfilled, the ascertained goods may be transferred to the buyer. When the goods are ascertained, ascertainment is a process by which the goods to be delivered under the contract of sale. It is unilateral act of the seller alone to identify and isolate the goods. When the goods are appropriated to the contract. Appropriation is a process by which the goods to be delivered under the contract of sale are identified and isolated with the consent of seller as well as buyer. Then third one, delivery. Goods to the price of the good ascertained or weighing when the goods are appropriate to the contract. So these are the points. And third one, goods sent an approval on sale or return basis. The goods sent an approval or on sale on return basis. So the goods sent an approval on sale return basis mean the goods in respect of which the buyer has option either return or retain. So return means reback to the buyer has option either reback or supply to the seller or retain, have it the product. So these are the passing property. Third one, first one specific goods, second one ascertained goods, then third one goods sent on approval. Here the difference between the goods sent on approval or sale or on basis rule. First one, where the buyer communicate his approval or acceptance, time of transfer of ownership, the ownership passes right from the type of communication. Example, A offered to sell his scooter to B and deliver it to B for trial run for 2 days. B communicate his acceptance after 2 days. In this case, ownership passes right from the time of communication. Then where the buyer does some act adapting the transaction. When the act of adoption is done, here A delivers some jewelry to B on sale or return basis. B bled the jewelry with C. It was held that ownership of the jewelry had transferred to B. So he has adopted the transaction by pledging the jewelry with C. So in this case, A has no right against C. He can only recover the price of the jewelry from B. But the buyer fails to return the goods after the time of fixed for return and the expiry of fixed term. For example, X delivers some goods to Y on sale or return for 7 days. Y neither return nor gives. So after the expiry of 7 days, the goods were destroyed by fire on 8th day. Here, Y has to bear the loss. Then where no time has been fixed for return and the expiry of the reasonable time, S Limited agreed to sell a tractor to municipality on the condition that if the later it was satisfied with the contractor, so it could reject it. So the municipality used the tractor for a month and a half and then wanted to reject. So in this case, the property in the tractor is deemed to have passed to municipality as reasonable time elapsed.